Online romance scams, particularly those targeting older individuals, had become increasingly prevalent and devastating. Known as pig butchering scams, these cons involve criminals who methodically gain the trust of their victims over months or even years, fattening them up for the kill, emotionally and financially. The story of Dennis Jones, an 82-year-old man from Maryland, tragically exemplifies the dangers of these scams. Dennis Jones was born in Portsmouth, Virginia on the 26th of February 1942. After graduating from Georgetown University, he served in the U.S. Coast Guard. He then embarked on many careers, including work in the marketing, sales, and real estate industries. Then one day, he met and fell in love with a woman by the name of Martha. They got married and had 3 children together. However, as with many marriages after spending decades together, Dennis and Martha began to drift apart and mutually decided to get a divorce. The split was amicable and they remained friends. However, living on his own in old age, Dennis began feeling lonely and isolated. Like many older adults who find themselves suddenly alone, Dennis went online in search of companionship. He randomly received a message one day from a woman called Jessie Chu on Facebook. He didn't know her, but being the friendly person that he was, he engaged in a conversation with her. The two began communicating regularly, and what at first started out as a friendship soon turned into a romance. For Dennis, this online relationship quickly became a lifeline, filling the void that had been left by his divorce. Dennis wanted to meet Jessie in real life, but she always made excuses not to. Dennis was so besotted with her that he would believe everything she told him. One day, she mentioned an interesting investment opportunity, a way to make a large sum of money in a short time by trading cryptocurrencies. By this point, Dennis, desperate for connection, and perhaps enticed by the idea of securing a comfortable future, went along with her idea. He thought he would be able to make lots of money and fly Jessie over to Virginia so that they could finally be together and live happily ever after. Over the next several months, she convinced him to invest his life savings into what he believed were legitimate investments. Dennis had a really close relationship with his children, but they did not approve of this online relationship and tried to warn him that it may be a scam. But Dennis didn't want to believe them, and as the months went on, he distanced himself from them. He continued to invest everything he had, and when he had nothing left, Jessie still wanted more. By this point, Dennis was feeling really miserable as he was facing going bankrupt. He sent a message to Jessie saying, "I have been having dark thoughts about my life and it being over. Certainly, it looks like my financial life is done. Bankruptcy, legal and all that BS. It will be very painful and I'm not sure I can stand it." He was finally coming to the harsh realization that Jessie was not who she claimed to be. His adult children, Matt and Adrienne, had planned to meet up with Dennis on the 4th of March 2023. They wanted to talk about the situation which he was in and to try to get their father back on his feet. They wanted him to know that he was going to be taken care of. So on the day, Matt drove down to Dennis's house and knocked on his door, but no one answered and all calls went straight to voicemail. Dennis was an avid runner. He often liked to go for long runs, so that's what Matt thought he was doing, so he went back home. About an hour after Matt returned back to his home, the police knocked on his door and told him that sadly, Dennis took his own life. After Dennis's death, his children logged into his computer and were shocked to see the horrific extent of what had been happening to him. Yet they got the police involved and found out that this Jessie character was part of a sophisticated criminal network operating out of Southeast Asia. These scams, known as pig butchering scams, primarily run by Chinese gangs, involve creating fake profiles on social media and dating sites to lure victims into fake relationships. Once trust is established, the scammers encourage their victims to invest in fraudulent cryptocurrency schemes, promising high returns. In reality, these funds get funneled into the hands of the scammers. By the time Dennis realized something was wrong, it would have been too late. He had lost over $100,000, his entire life savings. The devastation of losing not just his money, but also the trust and affection he thought he had found was unbearable. The emotional toll on Dennis was immense. The shame and guilt of having been duped, combined with the loss of his financial security, led him into a deep depression. Towards the end, he withdrew from his family, feeling embarrassed and unable to face the reality of what had happened. Despite their attempts to reach out and support him, Dennis felt isolated, hopeless, and ashamed. In messages shared by the family, Dennis told Jessica,
"I will have $9,000 in my trust wallet by Saturday, transferring $2,500 per day into Uphold, and I had $1,525 in it. So $4,000 in it now, $65,000 tomorrow, and $9,000 Saturday."
In another message to Jessica, Dennis told her how guilty he felt for betraying his family by giving up all of his money. He said, "The ultimate pang here is that I betrayed my family's trust. This is unbearable." Dennis's story is not unique. In fact, pig butchering scams have become a global epidemic, with countless victims losing billions of dollars each year. These scams prey on the vulnerable, exploiting their loneliness and trust. For many like Dennis, the consequences are devastating. The FBI and other law enforcement agencies are working to combat these scams, but the global nature of the networks involved makes them difficult to dismantle. Meanwhile, victims are left to pick up the pieces, often with little recourse.
As soon as I found out that it was a suicide, I was 100% sure that it was the scam. It crushed him. It took the life out of him. I mean, our father was the grand optimist. He was always. And they extinguished that for him.
A 2023 investigation uncovered that many scammers are actually victims of human trafficking. They are enticed to come to Southeast Asia with promises of white-collar jobs, but are instead trafficked into countries like Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos. Since the 2021 military coup, Myanmar has become a hub for scams in Asia, where criminals operate freely amid a violent civil war. Massive compounds now dominate the Myanmar side of the border with Thailand, separated by a dry riverbed. These compounds house what can be described as scam factories, where hundreds of enslaved individuals work 16-hour days, befriending victims under fake dating profiles and convincing them to invest in cryptocurrencies on fake trading platforms that resemble legitimate exchanges. Those trapped inside recount stories of torture and abuse, with scammers who fail to generate enough money that day, being beaten with electrical sticks and forced to do hundreds of squats as punishment. The story of Dennis Jones is a tragic example of how these scams can destroy lives. It's a dark reminder of the importance of vigilance in the digital age, especially for older individuals who may be more susceptible to manipulation. As his family continues to mourn, they also hope that by sharing his story, they can prevent others from suffering the same fate. Online dating can be a powerful tool for connection, but it also comes with risks. For those seeking love and companionship, it's crucial to be aware of the dangers and to approach online relationships with caution. Dennis Jones's legacy may be one of heartbreak, but it also serves as a warning to others. Be careful who you trust, especially when your heart and your finances are on the line. Thank you for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.